If you want to get in contact with me, the best way to do it is on Instagram. If you just want to say what up, if you want to tell me you love my videos, you can tell me that you hate my videos, but the best way to do that is on Instagram. Peace, y'all. Jonny Fastlane here. So, Suge Knight gets sued for $107 million, and Rick Ross is taking Jeezy on tour with them. Plus, 17-year-old rapper NLE Choppa is expecting his first child. Let's talk hip-hop. Alright, so this is an old case, right? But basically the courts are saying that Suge Knight still has to pay $107 million. So the whole situation is that there's this woman, Miss Harris, who invested in Death Row Records early on, like way early in the 90s, before Snoop, before all of that, right? And went in like 50% with Suge Knight. But then, Death Row started blowing up, and at that point, Suge Knight kind of pushed her out of the situation so he could keep more of the money. He basically didn't give her the money that she was owed or any interest that she was awarded, right? So she took Suge Knight to court back in 2005, and the judge said that he has to pay her $107 million. But of course, Suge Knight didn't have any of that money, right? So, since then, he's been arrested on voluntary manslaughter, and he's serving 28 years in jail, right? Or in prison. The whole situation is, during, Death Row's heyday, they made at least $4 billion in profits, right? Selling, 100 million records, signing Tupac and Snoop and everybody else, right? But then they ended up filing for bankruptcy, I think like back in 2006. Also, there was a tax lien against Suge Knight, and he ended up having to owe like $6.4 million in taxes. He ended up going to jail because he had like a probation violation in the early 2000s. Then he gets out, then he goes back to prison. And at this point, basically his net worth is only $200,000, right? So that means that he doesn't really have any properties that he owns. He's sitting in prison. He doesn't have any business that he owns or anything, and everything's pretty much liquidated. And now they're saying, oh, by the way, you still have to pay this woman $107 million that he absolutely does not have, right? So basically that means that he's living in a personal hell, right? His back is up against the wall, and even in prison, he's broke, right? Just like any other regular Joe Schmo, which is horrible because we're talking Suge Knight, right? But a lot of people say that's karma, right? But let me know what y'all think about this in the comments. This is gonna be fire, right? So Rick Ross is putting together a tour. They have a couple of dates, nothing too crazy. And if y'all know Rick Ross, like I know Rick Ross, you already know that he, one, ain't trying to go on tour like 10 or 15 dates, right? And do like a whole world tour, and definitely ain't trying to go out of the country, right? So he's got about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 dates, right? It's called the Feed the Streets Tour, right? Atlanta, North Carolina, Houston, Brooklyn, Los Angeles, Oakland, California, and Chicago, right? Just hitting the hot spots, and my dude is not even going to Miami, right? So anyway, the dope shit about this tour, though, is that, okay, Rick Ross is headlining it, right? And it's called the Living Legends leg of the tour, because pretty much anybody that's on this tour could be a headliner and is a legend, right? So Rick Ross is here, right? Jeezy is here, right? T.I., Yo Gotti, 2 Chainz, Lil' Kim, Boosie Badass, and DJ Drama is going to be the official DJ of the tour, right? And of course, they'll have a couple of other people, young artists, wherever they go to those cities and everything like that. But these are the big names, right? And this is fire. My only thing is, we all know it, so let's just address the elephant in the room, that Gucci Mane should be on this tour too, right? But since he has beef, forever beef, with young Jeezy, Jeezy and Gucci Mane ain't going on no tours together, right? And to be honest with you, this is a tour that should have happened like maybe 2005, 2006, 7-ish, right? But Jeezy and Rick Ross were beefing so hard that they couldn't even be in the same room together, right? So now, people like me who were like really going hard with that hip hop, and I go hard with hip hop all the time, just not the early 2000s. But anyway, people like me who love that early 2000s kind of southern hip hop is gonna love this, right? And to me, it should be, I mean, Feed the Streets tour is dope, but this should be called like the Kings of the South tour, right? You have 2 Chainz, right? You got Jeezy, you got T.I., you got Boosie, you got Rick Ross, Lil' Kim, alright, cool, she from Brooklyn, but you just have like all of these dope names. Trick Daddy should be on this, and I don't know, man, maybe he will, but we don't know, right? And you know, Young Dolph, I feel like should be on this. Like I said, Gucci Mane, but you know, these are people that I don't know, right? Trick Daddy possibly could show up, but he ain't on the whole tour, right? But this is fire, man, and I'm definitely going when they come to Brooklyn, man. Let me know what y'all think about this in the comments. Alright, so NLE Choppa goes on Twitter and he puts up this picture of an ultrasound, right? And then he says, I got a little me on the way, man. They say Choppa is just a young 17-year-old kid who always had it handed to him. But in reality, I've been facing grown man problems since I was a boy. And I'm never open to it, and I'm never really open to what a nigga is really feeling, right? Then he goes on to say, the only 2 blessings that I've been praying for this year was to have a healthy son and a #1 album whenever it drops, right? I told God to send my other blessings elsewhere, and that I will slave all year just like I've been doing before I blew up, just so I can feed my family, right? And then he says, everybody loves the entertainment side of NLE Choppa, the hype Choppa, the dancing Choppa, and the turn up NLE Choppa, but nobody knows the day-to-day NLE. I say that to say that it's not much happiness in my life right now, but hopefully I'll learn to love myself and receive love that I've never felt before through my child, right? Through my unborn child. And this is crazy because it's a lot to unpack, right? First of all, it sounds like NLE Choppa is going through something, right? Mentally or whatever. And I guess maybe he should probably see like a therapist or something about, you know, whatever it is that's on his mind, right? And then just also when you're 17 and you're like going through puberty and all that stuff, you just tend to be a little bit more emotional, right? And then you snap out of it when you're 18 or 19, right? So he could be going through that too. Also, he is coming from being, I wouldn't say poor, but he's coming from, let's say, just being middle class to being filthy rich. And when you were middle class, you were regular and nobody knew you, and now you're filthy rich and you're a celebrity and everybody knows you. So that could be a little bit of a tough transition there too, right? And I think it's cool that he's having a kid, even though he's like young. You know, NLE Choppa's not a regular dude. I think like Lil Wayne had his first daughter, Reginae Carter, when he was like 16 or 17. Lil Wayne was richer than me then, and Lil Wayne is richer than me now, right? NLE Choppa is richer than me now, and I'm sure that regardless if he's 17 or 27, that he is going to just be a great dad, and congratulations on that. But everything else, man, it seems like NLE Choppa needs somebody to talk to, right? But let me know what you think about this and everything else in the comments down below. Don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe. Make sure you hit that notification bell. Follow me at Jonny Fastlane on Instagram, and y'all already know what to do. Peace.